Nicola Sturgeon shuts down anti-trans myth that gender law reform will lead to attacks on women. This is a really important article for us to cover because she very distinctly points out the problems with the anti-trans bathroom bills and the fact that what is being whipped up is just a bunch of unnecessary fear, and there's no basis in it. The SNP appeared on BBC's flagship politics show, Sunday with Laura Kunzenberg, to discuss, among other things, the unprecedented blocking of Scotland's gender reform bill. Nicola Sturgeon went on this show and said, speaking to the journalist, she was shutting down concerns from the small minority of anti-trans women's groups that the Scottish gender reform bill would make it easier for predatory men to access single-sex spaces and would be, in Kunzberg, the host's clumsy words, to the detriment of biological women who are biologically female at birth. Just making sure she snuck in biological there without anybody really noticing. I don't believe that will be the case, explained Sturgeon. We tried very hard to listen carefully to all views, the 2 consultations that were held in this legislation. So they held 2 review periods of it and had people come in and talk about it. So some of these groups that they spoke with are ones that support and help women who have been under attack from predatory men. The Rape Crisis Scotland, Women's Aid Scotland, and Zero Tolerance Scotland. These are groups that work with vulnerable women every single day. These organizations support this legislation. So it's important to be clear. Actually, most of the key women's organizations in Scotland do support this legislation. She continued, the fear that women have about predatory men accessing women-only spaces to abuse and attack women is very real. But you don't have to show your birth certificate to access women's only spaces. She doesn't add currently, but that's what she's talking about, that currently there is no law about bathrooms or bathroom access. You don't have to show a birth certificate to get in there. So the fact is that trans women have been using women's bathrooms for decades. Trans men have been using men's bathrooms for decades. We've been here. There hasn't been an upsurge in attacks or a lack of safety. She continues, the point is this bill does not give any predatory men any more ability to abuse women than predatory men already have. She also clarified that the Scottish Gender Reform Bill would have no impact on wider UK equality laws. The Scottish Parliament considers all of that on every legislation that it passes. Again, taking a major stance that is very needed against this fear-mongering and the rhetoric that somehow women are less safe. And so I'm glad that she was there to counteract that with a lot of good comments here, making a lot of sense.